If the defense in the Diddy case gets its way, Diddy could be a free man next month.
Continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening.
Snoop Dogg's marriage didn't just fall apart. It exploded. A video so wild and jaw-dropping has surfaced that it's shaking the whole hip-hop world to its core.
She stepped up as my wife and handled that. And there's been many times where I've been at my lowest, and she's always been the strongest to get me back up to get back out there. You gotta get back out there and do what you do. Don't worry about what's happening over here. I'm gonna handle that.
What's in that footage could drag one of rap's biggest legends into one of the darkest scandals the culture's ever witnessed. This clip, allegedly leaked by his wife and longtime business partner, Shantae, doesn't just hint at cheating. It drops a direct link between Snoop and Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah, that Diddy. The former music boss now locked up, serving over 4 years in federal prison for transporting women across state lines for illegal acts. The connection between Snoop and Diddy has the industry whispering nonstop, and what's being said is nothing short of shocking. In a world where Diddy's name now screams manipulation, control, and public shame, this new tie could wreck everything Snoop built. His image, his business, his legacy, all hanging by a thread. Insiders say this clip didn't just leak out of nowhere. It first started making quiet rounds among big industry players just last month, right after Diddy's sentencing. Sources close to Shantae claim the move was no accident. It was her way of sending a message. After nearly 30 years of standing beside him, helping turn Snoop Dogg into a global empire, she may have decided that exposing him was her final power move. But insiders say this wasn't just revenge for cheating. It was about something deeper.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, you don't do a freak-off, I'm going to release one of the freak-off videos that you are profiled in and humiliate.
Betrayal that cut through their marriage, their business, and even their shared faith. To really get what's going down, you gotta understand the scene behind it all. For years, people in Hollywood whispered about Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Wild, secret gatherings where power, money, and private acts all mixed behind locked doors. Prosecutors later described those nights as twisted performances, full of substances, hidden cameras, and a whole lot of fear. Witnesses at Diddy's trial painted a chilling picture. Cameras everywhere, footage no one was ever supposed to see, and a dark pattern of people being used and controlled, all hidden behind the flash of celebrity entertainment. When he was convicted under the MAN Act back in mid-2025, folks thought that chapter of hip-hop's wild excess was finally closed. But now, with this new video making noise, that door might be creaking open again, and Snoop could be caught right in the middle of it. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Diddy's fall left a huge gap in the industry, a power vacuum everyone's been trying to stay clear of.
Your wife's been by you for your
She's
whole
your high
career.
school
Your high school sweetheart. She is.
Never leave home without it.
Yeah, that's right. But how has she kind of taken you on this journey? Tell us about her.
I think my wife has been my best friend for a couple of reasons. One is that she always understood who I was and who I needed to be.
Artists have been quietly cutting ties, erasing his name from streaming credits, interviews, and archives. Yet suddenly, Snoop's name is being whispered in the same breath, and not in a good way. Sources claim the leaked video allegedly shows Snoop in a compromising moment, filmed during one of Diddy's Los Angeles mansion parties back in 2023, just months before those infamous federal raids hit his Miami and LA homes. Whether the clip actually proves any illegal acts is still a mystery, but just knowing it exists ties Snoop to a man prosecutors once called a predator in a designer suit. And for Shantae, that connection might have been the breaking point. She's always been seen as the quiet strength behind Snoop's empire. His high school love from Long Beach Polytechnic, the one who stood by him before the fame. The woman he married back in June 1997 at the Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey. Earlier this year, Snoop laughed off an interview question saying he once turned down a $100 million offer from OnlyFans because, as he put it, I got a black wife. Back then, everyone saw it as a proud moment of loyalty, a man standing strong for his marriage. But now, that loyalty looks shattered into pieces. Behind closed doors, Shantae was already growing suspicious long before this new drama hit. Their marriage had weathered plenty. From Selena Powell's trolling claims back in 2019 to an old paternity scandal from 1998. But the whispers tying Snoop to Diddy, that hit on a whole different level. When Diddy got arrested in September 2024, his entire empire started to crumble, and investigators began digging through everything: old guest lists, security footage, and files from his private events. Then came the federal raids in March 2024, when agents reportedly seized digital archives covering years of wild parties and private recordings. And now, some insiders are saying Snoop's face, or at least his presence, might show up somewhere in those seized files. For Shantae, sources close to her say she knew exactly what that meant. Not just for their marriage, but for everything. The family, the brand, the empire they spent decades building together. That realization, they claim, was the moment she decided to take control of the narrative, even if it meant total destruction. What makes this story explode isn't just the betrayal, it's the fallout. Snoop Dogg has spent the last decade polishing his image, turning himself into Uncle Snoop, the chill mentor, the funny TV host, the family man everyone adores. He even jumped into kids' entertainment, producing cartoon shows and coaching on national television. The internet's on fire over this one. Fans are completely divided. Some swear this whole thing's a setup, while others are saying it's finally the truth catching up to Snoop Dogg. Meanwhile, Snoop's camp has gone totally silent. No statement, no denial, nothing. The only thing people have noticed? A quiet digital cleanup. Posts with Shantae have mysteriously vanished from his socials, replaced with polished promos for his new projects. Behind the scenes, things sound even messier. Sources close to the couple say their inner circle has completely cracked, friends are taking sides, and trust is gone. Shantae, known by those around her as sharp, strategic, and fiercely protective of her kids, is reportedly gearing up for a serious legal battle. Word is, she's already got draft documents lined up covering divorce filings and claims over intellectual property connected to their shared businesses. And here's what makes it even wilder. Shantae's not just his wife. She's the official manager on record for several of Snoop's companies. That gives her major control over the operational side of the empire. So, whatever she does next could literally decide whether Snoop Dogg stays a global brand or becomes another fallen legend buried under a mountain of scandal. At the same time, whispers from Diddy's world are still spreading through the prison system. His once powerful circle is breaking apart, with several of his former associates reportedly cooperating with federal investigators to dodge more charges. Agents have even confirmed that they found dozens of personal recordings from Diddy's private events, some labeled with celebrity initials. No one knows if any of those initials match Snoop's, but the timing couldn't be more suspicious. Shantae's leak dropped right as investigators began cataloging those seized tapes, and that has everyone talking. Was she acting on her own? Or was she trying to get ahead of something much bigger before it exploded? Some insiders think she may have leaked the clip early, a calculated move to make sure that when the federal evidence finally hits the public, she's the one who controls the story. People close to Snoop say the panic is real. You can feel it. The man who once bragged that nothing could ever shake his cool is reportedly losing sleep, pacing through late-night calls with lawyers and PR teams non-stop. Those in his circle say he's terrified that Diddy's downfall might drag him down too, especially if prosecutors think he ever took part in one of those infamous freak-off sessions. It's a cruel twist of fate. Snoop built his comeback image on discipline, staying clean, keeping his head straight, turning down temptations that could have earned him hundreds of millions. He always said, "My wife wouldn't have it." That loyalty became part of his brand. But now, that same wife seems to have flipped the entire story on him, and suddenly, everything he stood for looks like it's hanging by a thread. But here's where it gets even deeper.
So he put his hands on females, put his hands on producers, executives. That's just his. I guess that's what the whole name Bad Boy comes from. That people don't really understand. What is it? What is a bad boy? Why did he choose that name? Like he never really gave a clear definition of how he feels about.
The industry's buzzing about Snoop's long history with powerful, controversial figures. From Suge Knight to Diddy himself, Snoop has always walked right on the edge of chaos. Suge once threw out a heavy statement implying that Snoop had explaining to do about what really happened around Tupac Shakur's tragedy. And that comment has resurfaced lately as new conspiracy threads try to connect Diddy's criminal empire to old-school West Coast beefs. Now, people are asking, could this new scandal reopen all those old suspicions? Could it link together parts of hip-hop history that were never meant to meet? It's all speculation, sure. But in this culture, every shadow hides a secret and every rumor carries a spark. Right now, the legal sharks are circling fast. Snoop's reportedly demanding that every privacy clause in his empire be enforced immediately. From staff to family, everyone's being reminded that those non-disclosure agreements are no joke. But keeping secrets when the internet's already on fire, that might be impossible. What we're seeing is a family empire crumbling in real time, and the cracks are spreading faster every hour. Every new day brings fresh drama, more supposed leaks, new screenshots, and a storm of questions about what really went down inside Diddy's world. People close to Shantae say she didn't just leak a random video, she opened a door. And what's spilling out could be way darker than anyone imagined. Because if Snoop was really connected to that scene, the big question becomes, what else has he been hiding all this time? That clip was just the first domino, and now the chain reaction is getting scary. The truth people are digging into isn't just about parties, it's about alleged crimes. Coercion, substances, and secret recordings meant to keep people under control. If Snoop was ever present at any of those events, you have to wonder, what did he see? What did he do? And maybe the biggest question of all, what did Shantae already know before she made her move? Insiders who once worked security at Diddy's luxury estates have come forward saying those mansions were like movie sets. Every inch wired with hidden cameras, mirrored walls, and remote-controlled lighting systems designed to catch everything. From the red carpet entrances to what happened when the doors closed, nothing was left unseen. And the witnesses from Diddy's trial, their accounts were chilling. They described those so-called freak-off nights. Young women allegedly pressured into private performances while guests watched. Substances flowed non-stop, and sleep was almost non-existent. Prosecutors said Diddy kept recordings of it all, carefully labeled files with initials, dates, and sometimes even the full names of high-profile guests. Some insiders claim those hidden tapes weren't just souvenirs. They were leverage. Diddy allegedly used them as insurance, a way to keep powerful guests silent and loyal, no matter what happened. When federal agents raided his Miami and Los Angeles mansions back in March 2024, they reportedly found hundreds of hard drives packed with footage. Prosecutors described the stash as a catalog of control. Material so explicit and compromising that parts of the evidence had to be sealed by investigators. Now, no one can say for sure whether Snoop appears in any of that evidence, but the timing of Shantae's leak is raising serious eyebrows. People in the legal world believe Shantae might have known something big was about to drop. As Snoop's manager, she had full access to everything: his business accounts, travel logs, private messages, and even his expense records. If she really chose to leak that video when she did, it might not have been pure revenge. It might have been about survival. And let's not forget, Shantae's no rookie when it comes to strategy. She's been the brains behind Snoop's cleanup for years, helping him rebuild after lawsuits, feuds, and headline-grabbing controversies. She's the one who locked in his biggest endorsement deals, managed his brand expansions, and turned Snoop Dogg into a global empire. But now those same sharp instincts that built his empire might be flipping the script, this time to protect herself. One insider put it bluntly, she's protecting the brand's name before it becomes collateral. And that makes sense, because if prosecutors start widening the Diddy investigation to include other high-profile guests, even the smallest tie could destroy careers overnight. By leaking that footage first, Shantae may have positioned herself as a whistleblower, not an accomplice. And now, the financial aftershocks are already hitting. Brand partners are reevaluating contracts, endorsement teams are going quiet, and the business world is watching to see if one of hip-hop's biggest moguls is about to lose everything he built, not from an outside attack, but from inside his own home. Major sponsors are moving in silence, and not in a good way. Behind the scenes, companies that once couldn't get enough of Snoop's laid-back, lovable image are now combing through contracts line by line. Streaming platforms featuring his old collaborations from the Diddy era have reportedly flagged certain videos for internal review, while corporate partners are quietly stepping back, waiting to see how deep this mess goes before making a move. And in that uneasy silence, the story keeps twisting. Every hour, the question changes. Was Snoop pulled in by temptation? Or was he just another big name lured into a world too powerful to say no to? The industry's split and the rumors won't stop spinning. People close to the couple claim Shantae isn't done yet. According to one longtime friend, she's sitting on digital backups of everything: emails, private footage, even recordings from business calls. If that's true, then the leaked video might be just the tip of a much bigger vault, one packed with evidence that could shake more than just her marriage. And if she's bold enough to leak one secret, what's stopping her from dropping more? The timing is impossible to ignore. Diddy's sentencing in June 2025 sent shockwaves through the music world, and investigators aren't slowing down. The FBI has already confirmed that it's still digging into whether those infamous freak-off parties were used as leverage, tools of blackmail or financial manipulation. If Snoop's name pops up anywhere in that trail of evidence, it could lead to serious legal trouble, transport violations, fraud, maybe even conspiracy charges. And while the headlines are chasing the scandal, another theory is spreading fast behind closed doors, that Shantae didn't leak the video to destroy Snoop, but to protect her family. Some insiders believe she made her move early, cutting all ties before the government could connect their empire to Diddy's collapsing one. Now her long-rumored memoir suddenly makes perfect sense. What once seemed like just another celebrity project is starting to look like a power move. It's a controlled narrative. Her side of the story told her way, before anyone else can twist it. Sources say she writes about choosing self-respect over silence, a phrase that's now blowing up all over social media. You can see the play unfolding. While the world fixates on Snoop's potential downfall, Shantae is rebranding herself as the woman who refused to stay quiet, the one who stood up instead of standing by. But here's the thing, if Shantae's got receipts, then others might have them too. Industry insiders are whispering that Diddy's secret archives didn't just feature rappers, they allegedly held footage of executives, athletes, and even major TV personalities. Some of those people, sources say, have already gotten quiet warnings to brace for what's coming. One high-profile entertainment lawyer even admitted those drives could destroy careers faster than any court ever could. And if Snoop was even near that circle, he's definitely not the only one sweating right now. For years, talk of Diddy's private recordings has haunted the industry. Those freak-off nights that insiders described as power plays, not parties. Executives who were there have said those recordings weren't just memories, they were trophies of control. The files were allegedly cataloged with precision, encrypted, and stored in multiple hidden locations across the country. Some called it insurance, the kind that guaranteed silence, a way to make sure that anyone who entered Diddy's world stayed obedient long after the music stopped and the lights went dark. And the craziest part? Court filings from the 2025 trial actually referenced something prosecutors described as digital archives of compromised material. They never publicly detailed what that meant, but witnesses claimed it pointed to hundreds of hours of recorded encounters involving celebrities, executives, and even a few government figures. The message behind it all is chillingly simple. Diddy didn't just throw wild parties, he allegedly built a network of control. Investigators involved in those 2024 raids across his Miami and Los Angeles properties hinted that they uncovered dozens of external drives, each one marked with strange initials and mysterious dates stretching back more than a decade. One source close to the case described the collection as a digital map of the entertainment elite, a secret ledger showing who was there, who took part, and who could be kept in line. And the whispers? They've grown far beyond hip-hop. Insiders are saying some of that footage might feature not just rappers, but athletes from national leagues, big-name TV hosts, and even wealthy investors whose entire reputations rest on appearing clean and respectable. The deeper the feds dig, the wider this circle seems to spread, and the panic is now echoing all the way from Hollywood to Washington, D.C. When you see it in that light, Shantae's leak looks completely different. If she really had access to one of those recordings, it might prove that Diddy's so-called vault was never fully locked down. Analysts now believe he could have distributed multiple copies of his recordings to trusted insiders as insurance. A fail-safe plan to make sure that if he ever went down, his secrets would live on. And if that theory's true, then the clip involving Snoop might just be one piece of a massive puzzle, one fragment from a much larger set scattered across the industry. That means when Shantae decided to drop her video, it might not have just been about revenge or exposure. It could have been a warning shot to others, a signal that the vault isn't sealed anymore. It's leaking piece by piece for everyone to see. What makes these alleged tapes so explosive is their dual power, humiliation and proof. According to multiple alleged victims, many of them were pressured into being filmed while under the influence or out of fear of retaliation. Those recordings weren't just trophies, they were tools of control, evidence, and blackmail rolled into one. And in the wrong hands, that kind of material could reshape everything, destroy billion-dollar brands, end political careers, and set off criminal investigations that stretch far beyond entertainment. Federal investigators are reportedly going frame by frame through every recovered drive, cross-referencing timestamps, guest lists, and hidden files, while high-powered lawyers quietly scramble behind the scenes. Attorneys representing big-name clients are said to be working overtime, lobbying to keep their clients' names off any official record. And with every day that passes without confirmation, the rumors only grow louder. everyone's asking the same question. Who's next to be exposed? If these tapes are real and as detailed as insiders claim, then they're not just a threat to Snoop. They're a time bomb. Each hard drive, each encrypted folder could carry the power to blow apart reputations, partnerships, and alliances that have shaped pop culture for decades. The pressure's building, the silence is deafening, and it feels like one wrong leak could unleash a chain reaction of confessions, lawsuits, and career-ending revelations that no one can stop once it starts. And if that full archive ever sees daylight, the blast zone won't stop at the music industry. The fallout would spread like wildfire through politics, TV, sports, and even finance. This isn't just about fame anymore. It's about power. The only question left is how long that ticking clock has been running, and who's bold enough or desperate enough to finally set it off. Meanwhile, Snoop's entire image, the family man persona, the brand deals, the mentor role, is hanging by a thread. Sources say his team has warned him to stay completely off social media, to avoid saying anything that prosecutors or reporters could twist against him later. Every move now matters. Every word is a risk. Behind the curtain, whispers say Snoop's been reaching out to old allies from his death row days, trying to figure out how to survive the chaos that's swallowing him whole. And in an eerie twist, it's Suga Knight, still speaking from behind bars, whose old comment suddenly sounds prophetic. He once said Snoop had explaining to do about his past connections, and now those words echo louder than ever. So who really benefited from all this? Shantae's explosive leak didn't just break the internet, it set off a full-blown chain reaction. Every new detail that drops drags another big name into the spotlight, and now the fire she started looks like it's burning way past her marriage. If her plan was to burn bridges, she didn't just torch them, she blew them sky high. One thing's for sure, Shantae Brodus didn't just walk away from her husband, she detonated an empire. And if even half of what witnesses said about Diddy's parties is true, then Snoop Dogg might not be the only one sweating right now. There could be a whole list of powerful names scrambling to keep their secrets buried before the next leak hits. Because in today's world, every phone's a camera, every text can become evidence, and every secret has a price tag. Nothing stays hidden forever. Not in Hollywood, not in hip-hop, not anywhere. So now the question that's got the whole industry holding its breath is simple. Who's next? We'll be watching as the story keeps unfolding. Until then, stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your eyes open. Because in this game, loyalty isn't guaranteed, and it can vanish overnight. If you're hooked on this wild story, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your thoughts below. And we'll see you in the next one.